So the next guest, I'm gonna actually pre-play a little music for our next guest here, because this is a gentleman and his wife who have been instrumental in my life, but recently especially, because not only did Steve and I play baseball against each other, right? So then I got to show him how I could play ball despite what happened after a coma and everything I went through. That was kind of rewarding for me to be able to play at the level and win the batting title. Was kind of neat at that level, but it was rewarding for me. But these guys kind of then became my friends, right? I was playing against Steve. Steve and I never played on the same team. We played against each other a bunch of times. And then I met his wife, Emily. And so these guys, these two are just a couple of the best all-around people you'll find on the planet. Let me pull up my song here, because this is really a key song for what we've got here to kind of touch on that. So with that, I'm going to bring up Emily.
No, I'm going first.
Steve's going to go first. Okay, cool. Come on up, Steve. And so here's the song for you, Steve. Welcome to our house. Right? And
oh, he's got to answer his phone.
no, I got to turn off. Tom got done a little earlier. Welcome into our house. Now, Steve helps people get houses, and houses are. Anybody know anybody that doesn't live somewhere like a house or an apartment? I mean, what else is there, right? I guess there's a few other options on our planet, but it's usually kind of one or the other here in the United States. He's an expert. He's been doing this for 28 years. Is that right?
Yeah, including today.
Including today, and literally has changed the lives of a lot of people. I got to give him another shout out, because I had decided to make kind of a career shift, and I said, I've gotten my mortgage license, we're doing some marketing stuff. This helps me to help families and do what I do, but also to get paid now, because when they say you're not licensed, you can't get paid on a loan, even though you're generating a lot of stuff on marketing guy, right? I said, Steve, I'm in a situation, I think I'd like to work with somebody I can trust and work with well, and Steve welcomed me aboard. So I'm now a licensed loan officer now for almost a year, 9 months,
Yep.
10 months, with Steve's team, and really putting together some fun stuff, and it's a lot of excitement. So with that, I'll turn it over to Steve Flowers, everybody.
Like that he puts up here that like I'm one of the nation's top mortgage loan officers. What a joke, right? I'm going to take a couple minutes and talk a little bit, and my wife's going to take the next half of it and talk. And you're going to notice that we're going to be the glue between the first couple of speakers as far as generational health and generational wealth and divorce and everything like that. So I've been doing this 28 years. A long time in the St. Louis market. My wife and I are with USA Mortgage, which is a St. Louis-based company. We run a branch over in Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, Illinois. The health part of everything is, as Dr. Chris was talking about, there's not much change in that. The body is what the body is, right? And the divorce thing with the law, that's pretty much static. Little bitty changes here and there. In the mortgage industry, while you want a professional, is that our stuff changes every day, all the time. What we could do just a couple of years ago is gone from what we can do nowadays. Just a quick example, I got a guy that we're friends with, just opened up a Chick-fil-A over in Edwardsville. Pretty good business, right? He's gonna make buku bucks. Wants to buy a house, just moved up from Nashville to open it up, just opened up a week ago. He cannot get a loan anywhere. He doesn't have a track record, right? Now everybody in the right mind would say, man, that's a no-brainer. Chick-fil-A, owner of a franchise, is going to make a couple $100,000. Good credit, great people, loan them money. We are no longer in the good old boy network of the handshake and, hey, I'm going to pay you back, and my grandpa banked here, my dad banked here, I'm going to bank here, and you walk in, you get your loan. So everything changes so much in our industry from day to day. That it's made it quite cumbersome for guys like me, a real sales guy. Like I said, I've been doing this for 28 years. I love the sales side of it. Original founder and owner of a place in town called Golden Oak Lending. Sold that out. And that institution, we like to call it a hit it and quit it chop house, right? So our goal there was to just make loans and not look at what really was the best thing for the customer at the time. This was the Wild West days of the mortgage lending 20 years ago. My wife joined me. She's a stay-at-home mom with our kids for the first 14 years, joined me in the industry about 8 years ago, and we had a good living on the hit it and quit it method, but she looked at me and she goes, that's not my personality. So we moved away from being transactional and more relationship-based. We moved away from the sales side of the mortgage industry and more into the educational side of it. So the thing that I would tell most people is, A, you got to work with a professional that knows what's going on in the industry yesterday, today, and what's going to happen in the future. But the most important thing when it comes along to mortgage financing is because it's so changing every day, is the fact that most people that look to do something, they're typical Americans. Hey, I saw a house, I want to buy it right now. What's my first step, right? Well, we'll get pre-approved. I will tell you, no matter how good you are, how good your credit is, how much money you have, if you're going to finance, you might want to start between 6 and 12 months prior to actually taking out a mortgage loan, because everything is completely different than what we used to know it. Even last week, we came out with changes that start on May 1st, loan level pricing adjustments for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and they moved your top tier credit score from 740 to 780. So what does that mean? That means if you're a walk on water, you pay all your bills on time, you got no issues at all, and you're a 750 credit score, which we were always top tier for, now all of a sudden you're getting dinged a quarter of a point to the interest rate possibly. Okay? There are things with how much money you put down that can affect your interest rate. If you're buying a second home, used to be in the past that, hey, I want to buy a house down on the beach in Florida, and that's going to be my second home, and that used to be the same interest rate as your primary residence. It's no longer. They treat that as now an investment property from a pricing standpoint. So your interest rates are going to be higher. Your closing costs are going to be higher. What we do with the education part of it is very specific on trying to make sure that when you go through McDonald's drive-thru and you order that #1 Big Mac meal, I take a look out and I say, well, maybe you might want to look at the mixed salad shaker, all right? We're going to structure something a little bit differently for you. Do you need a 30-year? Do you want an adjustable rate? Is a 15-year? Where are you at with your family? What's your ultimate goals? How many people in here in the Midwest know anything about discount points for buying your mortgage interest rate down? Is it a good idea or a bad idea? Very good answer. As a sales guy, I could sell both of them, right? If you wanted to buy it down. In today's market right now, and the funny thing is I can get up here and I can sell you all sorts of stuff, but we just came out of the 2 lowest years of mortgage interest rates in the history of mankind. So a lot of people are already set up for that, building that generational wealth, right? Through mortgages and home financing. But yeah, so it depends on how long you're going to be there. We're hoping that right now we would tell you, do not pay points right now. Interest rates are high. We anticipate that we're going to go into a recession by the end of the year, which, by the way, you're going to look at unemployment numbers as the #1 thing you're going to look at 2 quarters in a row or 2 months in a row. That's going to be the time you got to sell all your stocks and get ready to hold on with both hands because things are about ready to crash. So we would tell you interest rates are going to come down, houses prices are going to continue to go up in a recession, and you're going to maybe refinance in the next 6 to 8 months if you're at a higher interest rate, if you're buying today. So you want to minimize closing costs, and you don't want to buy points right now. But when that rate comes down to a point where maybe we get into the low 4s, high 3s again, it might be a good time to say, okay, hey, we got a little bit extra money, let's buy some interest rate down because we're going to save X amount of period over the long run, right? So that's what we're going to do. Our approach a little bit is a little bit more of that education and a little bit more of trying to make sure that we design a program for your wants, needs, and desires, and then also put you in the best possible place to get the best financing possible. The #1 way to build generational wealth is through home ownership. So if you have young kids that are getting to that point in their life where they might be looking at buying a house, I would highly suggest getting with somebody like a mortgage professional, making sure they establish good credit. We took our kids, both of them, we put them on as authorized user accounts on our credit card. It's a great credit card. They don't have access to it, but what they do is they have my credit history and Emily's credit history right now. So my son's a United States Marine. He's going to buy a car up in Hawaii, and instead of me having a co-sign for him, and that affect my credit as well, he now has established credit, and he can go to Navy Federal Credit Union up there and buy his car and be perfectly fine with financing. So little tricks of the trade that we work on when we go through things. And that's really it. If anybody don't have any questions, I want to turn it over to the real rock star here. She'll handle all the divorce side of mortgage lending. So thank you for your time. Carter, I appreciate it, bud. How'd I do on time?
That was great. Give it up for Steve Flowers, everybody. You did that 8 minutes. 8 minutes, you learned about as much as you need to know about. And this song I played, this is the next
My
one.
wife said that is great.